Welcome to the Golf Spotlight. I'm Ralph Irvin, and today talking to you about the latest releases from the folks at Ben Hogan Golf. And to do that, why not talk to the man in charge? That's Terry Kaler, President and CEO. Terry, thanks for joining me.
No, it's a lot of fun to be here. Thanks for coming by.
You have new clubs that truly represent Ben Hogan's style, even if people don't realize it, because Ben Hogan designed a hybrid back in the 60s.
Yeah, we've got a club from his personal collection that we know is from the 60s. It never was on the market, but when you look at it, it's a hybrid. There's no confusion about it. So, what Ben Hogan was all about was shot-making precision. And he knew that, holding greens, hitting greens is the key to scoring. And nobody ever did it like he did.
Well, let's talk about the new hybrid release because it is a different design look, but again, it's a very potent club because once you hit it, you feel something you're not used to feeling with a hybrid.
Well, we look at a hybrid. Golfers buy hybrids as long iron replacements. And they buy hybrid for a specific distance. They're trying to replace a 3-iron or 4-iron. They need that 195 club or that 180 club. But they want that club to spin, to hold the green. And what we saw is everybody's bringing driver technology to hybrids. Thin faces and low and, higher launch and lower spin. That's great on the driver, but that's not what you want out of an iron or an iron replacement. So we created a hybrid we call the Vector, a VKTR, which is an old Hogan name. There was a Vector shaft and Vector irons way back when. We like to always pay tribute to what Mr. Hogan gave us. He gave us a fabulous legacy, and it's a very demanding legacy for us to live up to. But the Vector Hybrid has got a little deeper face, more like an iron. It's got a little higher center of gravity than a lot of the other guys because we're trying to help you get spin. And the way you get spin is to hit the ball a little below or at the center of gravity. So unlike drivers. Then we created a weighting system that we have movable weights in the club head. So we put 4 weight ports in the golf club. One in the sole, which is your neutral position, and then we created one in the high toe, one in the extreme heel, and one in the back center. So the back center will raise the ball flight while not reducing spin. The heel will draw bias the golf club. The toe will fade bias the golf club. So you could tune your 1 or 2 or 3 hybrids to get the kind of ball flight you want. The other thing we did, people are building their hybrids in the same loft as the iron they're going to replace, but they're making them an inch longer. Well, you're not going to get that distance. I'm trying to buy a 195 club or a 180 club. I don't want it to go further than that. I'm trying to buy a number. So what we did is created 11 golf clubs, 17 to 27 degrees, every single loft, so that we can take any golfer, any strength profile, and we can get the exact 1 or 2 or 3 hybrids to give them expanded distance gapping at the long end of their set, which is what we need.
Well, and again, the fact that it's customizable like an iron, that it can be skewed so that it fits the shop shape you need with your swing is very different.
Well, it is different, but every golfer is different on what they want out of that hybrid. But what we felt from our interviews with golfers, they all want one thing, and that is I want to hold the green from long range. And that means a nice high ball flight, a steeper landing angle, and improved spin, and that's what we achieved with the Vector Hybrid.
Well, once we slide down from the hybrid into the standard irons, you have an entirely new design that is going to vary as you go from the long iron to the short iron in terms of performance so that it can maximize what you're looking for.
Well, exactly. And if there's anything the Ben Hogan Company has been noted for 60 years, it's great irons. And that was a lot of legacy for us to live up to as well. But we looked again with golfers who were telling us, I can't hold the greens with my long irons, and I can't keep my short irons out of the clouds. Well, a conventional iron design, when you apply the same weighting scheme from 25 to 35 to 45 degrees, these are very different golf clubs. So they require separate attention in our book. So we created in the long end of the set, we created an iron that's hollow. It's got a tungsten weight in the toe, so we can move the center of gravity out to the center of the face. On a player's blade, the center of gravity is a little heelward. That's the way good players want it.
Right.
But the Game Improvement Club, we want it in the center of the face. And by varying the size and shape of the hollow cavity, we can keep the center of gravity in exactly the same spot vertically on the face in relation to, say, the equator of the golf ball. So the hollow club goes from 20 to 31 degrees. Your low 3 irons are going to be hollow to give you a nice high ball flight with retained spin. But that design will not work as you get into the higher lofts. So right. What we knew you get into the scoring clubs, your mid-30s and your high 30s and your 40-degree lofts, you want a solid golf club. Nothing delivers feel and feedback like a solid forging. Right. Nothing also delivers the penetrating trajectories that you want in your short irons like a solid forging. Problem is, this club needed to be a little bigger for that Game Improvement player. So we created, for the first time ever in the industry, a single solid forging, but it's got a titanium core. Well, titanium is half the density of steel, so I get to give you a solid golf club, but I've taken half density in the center of the club so I can move the steel weighting a little more to the perimeter, and I can position the weighting again to keep the center of gravity on this golf club constant from your highest lofted to your lowest lofted. You've got a linear center of gravity, which doesn't exist in this industry. So in the short iron, the wedge, the 98, you're going to get these beautiful penetrating trajectories, and because the CG is higher, you get enhanced spin. Doesn't come from the grooves. Grooves have to be on a golf club, but they're not the source of spin. The CG of the golf club is the source of spin, and the golfer. So the idea is keep the CG constant, give you a solid golf club for feel, and give you a little more offset, a little bigger profile, a little bigger face for confidence, and let you hit the high-quality short iron and wedge shots. That is the key to scoring, whether you're trying to win on tour or rake 90. It's about the short clubs.
Well, and the interesting thing about this set is that it has a classic look. It is a classic iron shape, and with a forging, you know you're going to get an incredible feel. So you're getting something that you're not used to seeing in a lot of other clubs, but it is also performance that's going to be game improvement based.
Well, you know, Mr. Hogan famously said in a letter he sent to golf pros in fall of 1953, October 3rd to be exact, to announce his company, that we're going to make clubs that are the finest that can be made. They're going to cost a little more. They're going to be worth it, and they're going to be like a fine piece of jewelry, was what he said. He always said a golf club should be like a fine piece of jewelry. So what we wanted to do is create a beautiful aesthetic appeal, very minimal graphics. We don't want it to look like a NASCAR, but there's a lot of horsepower under the hood with the hollow construction and the titanium core and the tungsten insert. And again, we like to use the term, there's a lot of horsepower under the hood of a beautiful, clean, classic golf club. But don't let its clean, simple looks fool you. There's a lot of technology in here.
Well, Terry, if people want more information about everything from Ben Hogan Golf, where can they get it?
Well, our website's very thorough. It's benhogangolf.com. And what I really encourage your viewers to do is to go on there and take our process we call Hogan Fit. And it's a technical look at your golf bag to show you the lofts and the gapping, and it's a real revealing analysis. We call it a bag mapping analysis. It's not a fitting, but it's a bag mapping analysis to show you just what's really in your golf bag and let you see where some of your problems in your game are maybe not all your fault, it may be the toolbox you have put together.
Well, Terry, thanks for taking the time to share these new clubs with us.
Well, it's been our pleasure, and we can't just even express the excitement of being able to do this for Mr. Hogan's legacy. And it's a big opportunity, but it's even a bigger responsibility and an obligation to do everything the way he would have done it. And we believe Mr. Hogan would approve. We have connections with a lot of people that knew him personally, and when somebody tells me, I think Ben would really like what you're doing, and they knew him, that's like the ultimate payoff.
We want to thank Terry Kaler for joining us here on the Golf Spotlight. Join us next time as we continue to give you the information that you need for your next golf purchase.